This is Devils 41 here, wanting to talk to you today about the new car purchase that we had made and do a review around that. What were some of the reasons we made the purchase and what were some of the reasons why we had looked at this specific model. So if you haven't gathered by the title, we're going to be talking about the 2021 CX5 Carbon Edition Turbo and really why we made that decision to go with that specific trim and why we decided to go with that engine. So a little bit of background just before we get into some of the review, but my wife previously had a 2018 CX5, the non-turbo Grand Touring Edition. So she had her lease coming up, wanted to get into something new, but wanted something with a little bit more power. So wanting to talk about the differences, especially coming from the same body style, same pretty much everything, but what are the differences between the non-turbo version and then what are the differences between the Carbon Edition as well. So first off, what really is the Carbon Edition? So we did end up going with the Carbon Edition, which was kind of a new offering that they came out with, I believe, in the 2020 offerings. They came out with this Carbon Edition package. So really what it is it's made to fit in for that like mid-tier trim, but it's going to make a lot of these standard features that usually are only available on the higher trim standard on that Carbon Edition trim. So it does include only one paint color, which is going to be that polymer gray paint. So it's that unique kind of paint style. So it's a little bit of that muted, I've heard people compare it to, I don't want to say like a Nardo gray or anything like that, because it's not really that much like a battleship muted gray, but it has a little bit of a bluish kind of tint to it. It's a very cool looking color, and it was really one of the reasons which sold us on it additionally was just that color. My wife really enjoyed it. She really liked that color, and it really does pop, especially when it's in the sun, and then when you also see it in the shade as well, it kind of changes colors a little bit. So very cool looking color from there. So you do get that built into the Carbon Edition package. You do additionally have the red upholstery with the special red stitching on the black leather. So you should get the red upholstery. I've heard, or we did see a couple models that did have the black leather with the red stitching. So I haven't been able to confirm this, but I am hearing that at least Mazda had some supply chain issues getting red leather. So that's the reason why they're putting the black leather with the red stitching in there. But that's just hearsay. I heard that from the dealer, so I'm not sure if that's exactly proven or if that knowledge is out there as of yet. But there was some options, at least on the CX5 side, that did have the black leather with the red stitching. We wanted the red leather, and that's something that we ended up going for. With that Carbon Edition, you do also get the black alloy wheels, you do get the gloss black mirror caps, and you do actually have a different chrome kind of insert on the front grille. So before it was chrome, now it's kind of this black chrome, so you do get a little bit of those extra features built in there as well. So inside, you do get the 10 premium sound Bose speakers, sound system as well with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is going to be standard. And you also do get the advanced features, which pretty much Mazda gets with the Mazda I Active Sense suite, and blind spot monitoring, rear crossing traffic alerts, as well as the Mazda radar cruise control with the stop and go and brake support as well. So you're going to get all those built into it. So it has a lot of these features built into it. One thing that I did forget as well was the power seats and the lumbar support for the driver's side. So those are some of the additions that you're going to get with the Carbon Edition. You're going to get those paint, you're going to get the leather, and you're going to get some of those other upgrades included in it. So really for us, it fit into, it was not maybe probably a step up from the Touring, which we had gotten last time, which included that kind of leather red. It had some of those inserts in it. So this is a much nicer, you have real leather interior, and really everything from there really hasn't changed as far as the kind of layout of everything. It's pretty much the same from the 2018 model. I think the only difference was the infotainment was updated, so you do have the 10.2-inch screen with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. So next we'll need to talk about, the turbo engine. So this, the Skyactiv G Turbo actually made its appearance back in 2016 with the CX9. And why did Mazda end up going with a turbocharged inline 4-cylinder versus getting rid of, kind of the V6? So as we've seen, a lot of companies are going with these turbo engines because they're cheaper to produce, they weigh less, and they're also a little bit more efficient. So that was really what Mazda was looking at, and really what Mazda was thinking about when they were creating this engine was they looked at the average driver, realized that, the average driver really wasn't going above 3,000 RPMs. So for those drivers, if they weren't using the top end of that power band, if they're putting in a turbo, they wanted to find out a way to get it to spool a little bit quicker, so you're getting some of that low end torque. So with this new turbo, if you are utilizing premium gas, you can get up to 250 horsepower, or so they claim. But if you're on regular 87 unleaded, you're going to be about at 227. Now, they have said that the torque numbers don't change between going from a premium to the regular 87. They're still claiming it's around 310 pound-foot of torque at 2,000 RPM. So that's a very, very low peak torque. Big reason why we did end up going with the CX5 again is we looked at a couple other manufacturers. One of the big problems that other manufacturers have is they're using CVT transmissions. So if you're not familiar with CVT transmissions, they just don't really give you that power on demand, right? Because you're not having to shift or anything from there. And I'm really not an expert on CVT transmissions, but they're really not able to give you that power through that power band the way that a regular automatic or 6-speed transmission really would. So Mazda decided to go with the traditional 6-speed automatic transmission. And Mazda actually does some little finagling, I would say, or they have this kind of new piece of technology that they put into these turbocharged engines. So what Mazda calls it is their Mazda variable nozzle turbocharging dynamic pressure technology. What Mazda is claiming is it's able to spool the turbo at a lower RPM, where the average driver is really not exceeding those 3,000 RPM. So the engine pulses keep that turbo spinning, and what they essentially do is what they've kind of created it, or what they essentially have done is they've created a close-off valve where it's able to build pressure up to about 17.4 psi. So these 3 ports come into via a control valve flow where the RPMs, as they start to climb, what it's going to do is it's actually going to restrict that airflow, and then as the RPMs climb, it'll then release after it's built enough pressure. So the way that Mazda kind of compares this to is if you're using a garden hose and you turn it on, put your thumb over it and kind of hold it there, right? You can feel the back pressure build up, so it's creating a little bit more back pressure. So that's kind of the thinking behind Mazda's model, and it's very intuitive that they're actually doing this, because not only does it help with the power in the low end, but it also helps with the efficiency as well. So next, let's move on to the interior. So we have talked about the red leather interior. Are going to be heated seats. You do not have cooling seats, unfortunately, especially living in a desert climate like I am. Really don't use the heated seats that much, but at least it's good to have from there. Instrument cluster is really going to remain the same. You're still going to have that digital display on the right-hand side, which you can kind of, switch through different options, including your coolant temps, and then your active radar control or anything from there. And then you're going to have the 10.2 infotainment system. So one thing to note is this is not a touchscreen. So just keep that in mind if you are looking for something that is more of kind of a touchscreen. But really all the other updates are really going to be the same from kind of previous years. I believe they did make a change to the infotainment kind of software that's behind it. So I know now, at least for this model year for us, we do have the Mazda Connected Drive. So you do have an application that you can use, to start your engine, unlock your doors, or do anything from there. So some kind of cool features that they're building into kind of your smartphone to be able to control your car or to kind of connect to it. But you are able to get some information back, as well as, what your fuel usage is, how much fuel you actually have left. It's very similar to BMW's Connected Drive. It almost looks like it's the same application or same developer on kind of the back end. So very, very familiar to the BMW Connected Drive, but very cool to see Mazda doing this, especially from a unit that's only about $32,000 from an MSRP standpoint. It's really, meeting up with a lot of those higher end models. Now, as we move into the back seat, you're going to have a 40-20-40 fold down for the cargo seats. You're going to have that power lift gate as well, and you're going to have that easy access to those flip down seats from those side releases. So you have the ability to release it from the side, or you can release it from the top of the actual seats from the back seat, should you want to just pull them down from there. On the sides of each of the trunk sides, you do have a little bit of extra storage should you pull up on those sides. So do you want to keep any kind of spare tools or anything? Great spot for it. And then down below, you do have your full spare tire, and then I believe that is the Bose subwoofer, but don't quote me on that. But you do have your full spare tire. So this is something that lot of companies are really going away from because they're trying to save on gas or EPA or weight savings really from that matter. So a lot of companies are going to these run flats. I'm going to be honest, I really don't care for run flats just because if I am on a road trip, I really like having that extra spare tire because I've been on road trips before where I've had to use a fix a flat kit. I've had to use run flats, and it's just not ideal if you're running into a situation where you really need that extra tire. So I'm really happy that they do include that full spare tire. I know it's kind of one of those little quality of life things, but I really like having that over the run flats, especially because run flats are going to run a little bit more too. So it's nice to be able to spend a little bit less when you're going to buy new tires. So now that we've talked about the actual car, I want to talk about my personal experience with it. What are the differences between the older 2018, what made us jump to the turbo model, and then talking about some of that buying experience as well. And I would say right now is really not the most ideal time to be buying a car. The entire time we were looking for a car, they were talking about all these shortages around new cars, new models because of the semiconductor shortage that's going on right now. So a lot of cars are being built, they're sitting out there, but they're waiting for either a chip for the ECU or for the infotainment system to come in. So there's a big shortage on that end of it. So there was a little bit of a challenge from our side when it came to kind of negotiating for this car because it was the Carbon Edition and is something that they are, kind of pushing out right now. But we were very fortunate that there were 12 other Carbon Editions in the Valley. So we were able to go to about 3 different dealerships to get the price that we really wanted for it. Some advice I would say for anybody who's looking to maybe purchase a car right now would be to go to Edmunds. I did Lease Hacker, and I also went on a couple of forums just to check what other people were getting around pricing. Definitely take your time, and then I did everything via email. I didn't even step foot really into the dealership until we were really ready to buy and really make a deal because it just made it a lot easier. I was able to really not have to waste my time with having to go down and negotiate and figure out what trade is. It was just getting down to kind of those raw numbers there from that side. So if you want to go into maybe another video of talking about how the lease actually worked out and how the negotiation actually worked, I can go into that and talk about some of the resources that I utilized and some of the videos that I actually looked up to actually help me with that. But we did get a very good deal on it. We did get quite a bit off MSRP, and did get some customer rebates back as well because we were a current Mazda owner and we were returning a lease. So we went out to Mazda website, ended up getting about I want to say maybe about $2,000 or so in kind of customer cash, that we were able to put down, towards the actual MSRP to drop that number down. But I'm very happy with this unit. It was only about 3,000 or 4,000 more, roughly, if I'm remembering, based off of what the old MSRP was of the 2018 CX5 Touring that we had traded in. So with the differences between there and some of the other cars that we were looking at the same time, for the same features that you were really getting, we were really going to have to jump to more of the luxury brands. So we looked at, some of the Infiniti QX50s. We looked at some of the BMW X3s, which were really getting into about the 40K, 50K, kind of price points. So a little bit more above what we're really looking for, but has some of those features that were really baked into it, especially from the luxury side. And really the reason why we were looking at going that way was just to get a little bit more extra power. So one of the complaints about the QX50 was it did have a CVT. The X3 was a great car, but just really for what you're getting, I think it's a little bit overpriced, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Maybe look at going with a used one, if we were going to go maybe that route or something like that. But we did look at, Hyundai and a couple of the other ones out there, but my wife, really just wanted to go either with a luxury brand or go back to Mazda. So Mazda really did kind of check those boxes for us. So very happy that we did end up going back with Mazda because, I will say that this car drives completely different than the old CX5. So to talk about how it does drive a little bit different, I have noticed with the turbo engine especially, getting off from the start was really never a problem from the old CX5. Getting up and going really wasn't the problem. Really where the issue came in for me was when you were trying to pass anyone going at speed. If you're going on road trips or anything like that, you're trying to pass someone who's driving slowly, you want that extra power really on demand. So this is something where the turbo really helped with, trying to pass anyone when you're going at speed. you're still able to get that extra oomph and kind of power there that you weren't really able to get with a naturally aspired unit. So very, very happy with the turbo unit. Seems to be running very, very well so far. We only have about 200 miles or so on it. The only kind of mix-ups which we had a couple of times is, some of the infotainment. We've had to reset it once before because the sound wasn't coming through it. So some kind of little nuances that we're still kind of figuring out. So I'll try to make a more long-term kind of review video out of this, but I will say very happy with the car. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on this 2021 CX5 Carbon Edition Turbo review. If you guys do have any questions or anything, maybe you want to see a long-term review, go ahead and drop that down in the comments. I do want to hear back from you. I do want to know what you guys are looking to see on this side of it. So if that's something you want to see, I will go ahead and take the time to make that video, if it's just for one person. So appreciate you stopping by. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll go ahead and talk soon.